My mother died of Alzheimer's in 2008. I'd like to dedicate this story to her. This is a cautionary tale. Ed Smiley is a retired postman and a widower. In addition to his pension and Social Security, he had a savings account of $2,000, which as a rule he never dipped into. To supplement his income, he tried working as a janitor at a pet store, Pets for You. But his allergy to fur forced him to quit after a shift of sneezing and coughing. He then tried working as a bagger at a supermarket, but the job was just too strenuous. Ed's only recreation was pool, with Scott, his longtime buddy at the post office. Ed had to ride a bus to the pool hall because he no longer drove. His memory was gradually fading, and he lost his way several times. His children felt it was too dangerous for him to drive. He and Scott were playing pool one day, and Scott asked him, "Hey, Ed, have you ever played the ponies?" "Huh? What's that?" Scott told him. Ed said, "That sounds easy. How much can I bet?" "As much as you want, but it's best to wait for a sure thing. You have to be patient until one comes along." "I guess I might be interested. The problem is I'm short of money." The next time that Ed and Scott played pool, Scott confided, "I have a reliable tip on a horse running in the Pasadena Stakes. Number 8 in the 8th is a sure thing. Don't forget, that's 8 in the 8th. I plan to bet all my money on that horse." Ed wasn't convinced. "I don't know, Scott. I can't afford to lose any money." "Who's talking about losing? Ed, this horse is a sure thing. His odds are 7-1. How much can I make on this horse?" "Well, that depends on how much you bet. If you bet $1,000, you'll get $8,000 back." Ed later considered the matter. How can I pass up a sure thing? Scott is betting all his money, so I will too. I'll bet everything in my savings." Ed arrived with his money early at the racetrack. He was nervous. An employee told him where to bet. Ed tried to look casual, but his shaky knees gave him away. At the window, he sputtered, $2,000. The cashier gave him a wry look and asked, which horse number on which race? Ed hadn't written it down, but he was quite sure what it was. He was so flustered, though, that he could hardly speak. The cashier appeared to be impatient and stern. There were several people muttering in line behind him. Ed looked at the big board and said, "Number 6, Bird Alley, in the 8th race." The cashier's expression was blank. "Are you sure that's the horse you want to bet on?" "Yep, that's the one," Ed proudly announced. The cashier saw how old Ed was and asked, "Is that $2,000 all your money?" Ed ignored his question and the cashier's dubious expression. He was relieved to get through with the betting process. Now all he had to do was sit back and wait for the sure thing to win and then count his money. Scott said his winnings would be $14,000. The starter announced the next race was the 8th, the Pasadena Stakes. Ed heard the call. "Riders up!" He felt a stirring of excitement. He scoped out the horses as they were led in front of the spectators. There was number 6, Bird Alley. Ed was disappointed. His horse was small and scrawny, especially when he compared it to number 8 horse, which looked powerful as it strutted around the track. Bird Alley appeared like he didn't want to run. Ed thought cautiously, well, maybe he's sneaky fast. All the horses went willingly to the gate, except Bird Alley. He pulled back on his rope. Some spectators laughed. "Who would bet on that nag? No wonder its odds are 50-1. Ed's face turned red, and he sank down in his seat. The horn went off, and the gates were lifted. The horses burst out. The number 8 horse rumbled to the lead, which it never relinquished. As it barreled down the back stretch, it looked like a locomotive running at full speed. Ed's fears about the number 8 horse, All Your Money, was coming true. It finished 12 lengths ahead of the field and 40 lengths ahead of Bird Alley. There were many snickers from the crowd. Ed muttered, "Some sure thing." Before leaving, he spotted an ecstatic Scott. Scott spouted, "Oh my God, Ed, did you see that all your money? Made us a bundle." Ed sputtered, "Well, that was some tip you gave me. Your sure thing finished last. I put all my money on that nag. Pathetic." Almost in tears, he lamented, "I don't have a nickel left to my name." Scott regarded him quizzically. "What do you mean? Your horse won the race. You made you big bucks." Suddenly, they both realized the mistake Ed made. At home, Ed had a hazy memory of the racetrack, the horses, all his money, and his lousy mistake. He just couldn't remember what it was. I have the privilege of introducing the next speaker. Please welcome Osmond Walton, who will read "My Tears Are Constant." But before he comes up, he wrote this about creative writing I wanted to share with you. Creative writing allows me the freedom to travel beyond my physical barriers and my present caged existence. I'm convicted within, but I fly everywhere. Awesome.